Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tia here. If you are new, please like and subscribe. But for today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys about a bad date I went on. So I don't know when this was, probably like 2018, something like that. I don't even know. I met a guy on, was it Tinder or something? I don't even know. And they say like Tinder is the worst place to meet people, but at the same time, it's like a lot of people have found their like husbands or wives on there. So I'm like, you know what, like let me try it out. So then I was swiping on people, matched with this guy. He was kind of like ugly, but at the same time, like I was like, you know what, like personality is the most important thing, like it's whatever. So I started talking to him and I was like, okay, he has like good conversation, seems like a decent person, this is pretty cool, let me try to get to know him, whatever. Then, you know, he was like, oh yeah, like we should do something, hang out, because guys for some reason they like to meet up so fast. Like me, I can text somebody for like a month, especially for safety reasons. I can text somebody and be like, oh yeah, whatever, but guys, they'll be like, no, like 2 days and we need to hang out. I can't be wasting my time texting back and forth. Like we need to feel the vibe so I don't be wasting my time. I'm like, bro, like I'm trying to make sure you're not like a creep or not gonna kill me when we do hang out. That's why I be texting people for so long. After that, we were talking for a while and then I was like, okay, like we could go to a museum. And museum is typically like what I be suggesting, like if they don't have any clue, because I used to suggest movies at first, but then like I realized like you can't really talk in the movies or get to know somebody, so it's like you're just like sitting in darkness and that's kind of boring. So I was like, you know what, museums are pretty cool because at least you get to walk around, you know, see what they think about the art, or you know, if there's interactive stuff there, you can like you know, draw something together or like write on the chalkboard, like whatever, because museums they're all different or whatever. So I was like, you know, this is cool. And then another test that I do with guys is like I'll have them take pictures of me, because like I'll tell them, I'm like, yeah, I like taking pictures of myself for like Instagram, I be on YouTube, blah blah blah. So I get them to, you know, take my pictures and I see how that come out. Like it's also like a fun process too, because they'll be like, oh yeah, getting all the angles, blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, cool. But talked to him and I was like, okay, we can meet on the weekend at the museum, this is cool. And he's like, oh, that'll be fun, like I've never been there before, like even though I live in the area, blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, cool, that would be, you know, fun thing to do. So we get to the museum, he's in like a fancy car, because me, like I don't really care like what car I'm driving. Like even if I'm rich, I'm not about to go buy like a new 2022, like I'm not gonna buy the newest car, I'm not gonna buy a Lamborghini. Like that's just, I've never really been interested in cars. I don't really have a dream car. For me, it was always like, as long as the radio works and I could like hook my phone up to it or like do Bluetooth, I'm fine by that. Like that's literally all I care about. So I don't care, you know, I was driving like a 2003 Saturn before, you know, so it's like people would always be like, oh, why are you still in that old car, you've been driving in that car for years, blah blah. I'm like, bro, a car is a car. I'm not really trying to impress anybody. Like as long as it gets me to where I need to go, that's all that matters. But anyways, he has like this new car, like the sleek black finish and the cool tires and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, like that's a cool car, you got money. Like that's just always what I say, like when people are like dressed fancy or they got a new car, I'm like, oh, you got money. He's like, yeah, something slight, blah blah blah. And he was telling me that he works in the post office, and I was like, oh, that's cool, like my dad has been a mailman for like, you know, 35 years, like that's pretty cool. So we were talking about that, and then we go into the museum. It's like a cool day too. Like I'm wearing like a crop top and jeans and some sneakers, and I'm like, okay, like this would be cool to get some museum pictures in this. And then we go in there and like he talks so loud. Like I think we went on a day when it was empty, because we went on like a Monday or something, so like, you know, everybody's still in school at work. So we start walking around and he talks so loud. Like me personally, I'm a shy person, I have like a soft voice. Like, people always tell me to speak up all the time, but he was in there shouting. And usually, you know, with museum etiquette, you're supposed to be quiet, looking at the art, observing stuff, you know, reading the little plaques and stuff. Like, I like to do that, you know, actually look at it for like a good like 5 minutes rather than people just like walking in and out, you know. So it was just weird because he would make like the weirdest comments. Like, in the museum they had like one of those naked statues, and like the guy, like you can see the guy's like private area, and he was just like, oh, my thing is bigger, way bigger than his, blah blah blah. Or, you know, it would be like the modern art with all the scribbles, and he would be like, I could do that shit in my sleep, blah. Like, just make weird comments. And I'm like, bro, like, are you a child? Like, you're grown, older than me, and you saying like the most childish comments. That was kind of turning me off, you know. And then there was like other people in the museums, like, you know, the old white ladies, and whenever he said something, they would just like give a weird look, and I'm like, bro, you were drawing attention. And because I hate having attention on myself, like, I'm not trying to be like the stereotypical like loud black people, I don't know. So that was just kind of awkward. And then like, I think that was like the first time he spoke to in the museum, and you know, it's empty in there, so it echoes and bounces off the walls. So pretty much I wanted to leave like as soon as I got there, but I was like, you know what, I can't just leave right away, like that's kind of mean, so I'll try to stick it out. And plus, like, I wanted to get pictures in the museum, so then like I would like set my phone down and I would tell him like how I take pictures, and I was like, yeah, like I just prop it up, I use this app to take my pictures, blah blah blah, I have a tripod. And he was telling me, he was like, oh yeah, like I forgot to bring my tripod, because I guess he'd be taking his pics himself like in empty parking lots or whatever. So that was like one of the main reasons why I swiped on him in the first place, because I was like, it would be cool to have someone to take pictures with. And so he was like, oh dang, like I forgot my tripod, that's right, whatever. And then I tried to, like, whenever I go places, I be taking selfies, because I'm like, you know, I might like my makeup that day or have a cute outfit on, so casually, like, I'll be just walking and I'll be like, oh, like taking like 2 pictures or something. So I'd be trying to take pictures, and he would try to jump in my selfies, and I'm like, bro, move. So that was like another turn off, because like, you need to let me shine, like this is my spotlight, blah blah blah. So I don't know, he just tried to jump in my pictures. I'm like, bro, we're not dating, like get out of my pictures. And then they had like a little, like, oh, I kind of like rushed him through the museum. Like I would have took way longer, but he was just too loud, so I was like, we got to get out of there. So I was like, oh, do you want to take pictures outside? And he was like, oh yeah, cool. And I'm like, finally. So we go outside, and then we take pictures outside. He's getting the angles and all that stuff, and I'm like, oh, these are cool. And then, you know, so that was a good time. And then we start like walking a bit, whatever, into like these little neighborhoods that are over there. So we're like walking and talking. He's telling me that he likes watching football and likes the New York Giants. And I was like, oh, my dad likes that too. So it was like, I was thinking like, oh, him and my dad might get along. But at the same time, I've never introduced someone to my parents anyways. And he's ugly. And he was also short too. Like, I think his profile said he was like 5'9" or 5'8", but he looked like he was like 5'5", and I'm 5'2", so I would prefer someone who would be taller than me while wearing heels. But yeah, that threw me off too, because I'm like, did he lie? Because I could have sworn like his profile said something else, but I'm like, I barely have to look up, which means he's short. So then like the conversation, it was just kind of boring too. Like, he would just talk about mostly his interests. Like, he wouldn't say something and then be like, oh, like, what about you? Like, what are your hobbies? Like, where do you like going? Like, he wasn't really asking me any questions. And then he took pictures of me. I don't even know where, but like I don't even know where, but I looked at the pictures after he took them, and like his thumb was like in the way of like all the pictures, so I couldn't even post them. So that's why I was mad about that too, because I got home and I was like, bro, totally missed opportunity. I should have checked the pictures while we were there, but it's whatever. But yeah, overall, it was just a terrible date, and I don't know, I was like, I probably shouldn't have matched with him to begin with because he's ugly, but I wasn't focused on physical appearance back then, which is what you should do, because obviously, you know, physical attraction means a lot. But yeah, it was just a bad experience. But like, since then, I be taking guys to that museum or whatever, because like they'll be like, oh yeah, you take you take your new people to the places that you and your ex went, blah blah blah. But in reality, I just don't know a lot of places because I never leave my house. So I always be like, oh yeah, we can go to the mall, we can go to the museum, blah blah blah. And then like, you know, other guys or people in general, they be showing me places and I'll take like the new guys there. So I don't, it's like a complete cycle. I just don't go a lot of places besides my house. But yeah, overall that date was kind of bad. And I don't know, like I've just had bad experiences since then. So like when guys, they'll ask me to like hang out and stuff, and they won't even suggest places to go and blah blah. I don't know, it's just a mess overall. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and you know, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.